Welcome back to the Beamer Barn, everyone. Today our video is going to be a little bit all over the place because we have to get my 335i wagon ready for the BMW Invasion event, which is this weekend. There's a ton of small things that we have to do on the car, from the engine bay to the interior of the car, and overall just need to get this thing polished up. I haven't even washed it since we originally bought this wagon. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right to work. Now, as you can see, the car's already torn apart because I was working on the front suspension. And what we're doing right now is we're replacing my factory shocks and springs with the old Coney shocks and M Sport springs from my friend's 335 diesel, because I know that these are going to lower the car as much as his was lowered before. So I think it'll be really cool to see the car lowered, especially on the 550i rims. And I'm not so worried about the ride quality because we'll just keep the stock suspension on the side and sell it with the car when we get to that point. So now let me go ahead and install the Coney shocks and the M Sport springs in the rear of the car, and that should give it a good lowering, and then we'll focus on getting a new tire for the 550i wheels. All right, so as you can see, we've got the wheels on and the lowering springs installed front and rear. I can't wait to see how much lower it goes. But before we put the car down, it's kind of at a good height for us to access some of the things we're going to do next. And let me show you. I have a list on my garage door, and we already lowered the car. Next things that we have to do: wipers, rear emblem, badge delete, finish up with the front end. We already took care of the tires, tint the tail lights, and the last thing is going to be the wash, clay, and polish. So here are the wiper blades that I have, Bosch front and rear. This is the tail light tint. I actually used this on another build already. And here is the rear emblem. And let's take a look at the rear end of the car, because back here it definitely needs some attention. So first of all, I'm a big fan of doing badge deletes. So we're going to tear off the 325i badge, remove the old adhesive, and then clean it up with a rubber eraser before we do our car wash. And then we're also going to install a new badge here and tint the tail lights as well. And you know, it's really hard to come across an E91 facelift car and imagine trying to find this rear tailgate in good condition. But instead of doing an LCI conversion in the back and the front, I'm just going to go ahead and red out the reverse lights, and that's going to give it a really cool look. So let's go ahead and do those things now and kind of get a good little transformation back here. So you see, my favorite method is using a little bit of fishing line to go under the badge, and that cuts off these numbers and letters pretty easily. And then you want to come through with a rubber wheel and get off most of the adhesive, but then it leaves like a shadow, and usually where the dirt meets the adhesive creates kind of like lines and stuff. So the best thing that I found is a bit of clay bar to get off those residual adhesive and dirt marks, and then you're left with a perfectly smooth surface. Of course, in the clear coat there's going to be a little bit of shadowing, but I think that with a little bit of buff and polishing that'll come out. So now let's go ahead and throw the badge on. And there it is installed. Let's go ahead and change out the wiper blades and then tint the tail lights. Isn't it amazing what a couple dollars of taillight tint from Amazon can do? It feels like a completely different car back here, much cleaner with a finished badge, tinted taillights, and we can finally turn on the wipers in the rear without scratching up the rear windshield. So now, like I said, the only thing left up here in the engine bay is just assembling the cabin filter, trim pieces and such, and the reinforcement bars, just kind of getting this engine bay finished up, and then we'll have the car ready to put on the ground and we'll be able to give it its first wash. So let's go ahead and finish assembling the engine bay so that we'll have something to be proud of up here.
Perfect.
Now with the wiper blades changed, actually before we pull the car out, I'm gonna go ahead and give the headlights a quick polish because, you know, they don't look too bad, but I figure with just a quick sanding and buffing, we can probably get them looking better for the car show. So let's go ahead and spend a couple minutes doing that, and then we'll give the car a wash. So we're in the finishing stages of washing the car now, and as you can see, I did get the chance to clay bar the hood here, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of the car because the clay bar came out super dirty. It was like, I think from pollen basically in Florida here. It just coats the cars, gets embedded into the paint, and then it doesn't come out when you do a traditional like bucket wash or even pressure washing. So we're gonna go ahead and clay bar the whole car here. I don't think I'm gonna have the time to polish it, unfortunately. I'm not gonna give myself that stress. I'd rather just clay bar it and give it a ceramic spray inside the garage, and then I think we'll have the car ready to go. So let me go ahead and finish up the wash, and then we'll pull it in the garage. So I'll show you my little secret that I like to use to get a really good dry off of a car. Now, it looks like the car is dry here, but this hood is actually wet. And what would happen is if you try to dry it, you know, usually you can get like streak marks. And what we want to do is we want to protect the paint and make sure that it has a lubricant as we dry it. So what I'm going to do, and I like to do this on all my cars, is I'll spray some of that turtle wax ceramic coat on the paint, and you can see immediately that the water starts to repel from the hood here. You can see it pulling off there. So then what I do is I come in with my chamois after that, and it feels like wiping on butter because the ceramic spray adds a lubricant to the paint, and you're just spreading it with the ShamWow or whatever drying towel you like to use as you're pulling the water up. Now that was just one pass. I usually like to come in twice, but you can see we got a lot of the water off there. We're even having trouble focusing because the clear coat is so shiny. But yeah, that's just my little pro tip for you guys washing your cars at home. Put a little bit of ceramic spray or just quick detailer works as well as you're drying the paint, and it makes the car come out a lot more shiny. And there you go. As you can see, just with that little simple method right there, got no streaks, looking really clean in the paint. Only thing is probably on the windows you tend to notice couple of water spots, but I'll go ahead and redo the windows with some Rain-X and a microfiber, because that's what you want to do anyways, so the water comes right off. But overall, I am super pleased with how this car came out in the last 24 hours of us kind of struggling to get it ready for the car show. So that's going to conclude our video for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I can't wait to go to BMW Invasion tomorrow, and I have a super special video for you guys planned. I'm giving myself a ton of time to get a sick edit in to show you guys the car show. They've got a ton of stuff going on, exhaust competition, I think a burnout competition, and I cannot wait to get there tomorrow, and we've got a ton of stuff planned as well. So stay tuned for the next video, and be sure to leave a like or a comment down below on this one, and subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't yet. As always, I hope everyone has an amazing day, and we'll see you next time.